Hello, hi everyone. Very warm welcome to all of you from around the world to the monthly Yoast SEO update. It's great to see where you're all joining from today, all from around the world. So I'm Chris. I'm a senior marketing manager here at Yoast. I'm broadcasting today from a fairly bright London, which is surprising given Halloween is just around the corner. Good to see the weather's just about holding up. Very excited to be your host today. So for newcomers, this is a brilliant way to keep up to date with what's happening across the ever-spinning SEO universe. It will save you loads of time reading, researching, as Alex and Carolyn have done it all for you. That's personally why I enjoy these sessions. So some highlights that caught my eye from the update today. You may have noticed all your impressions are dropping in Google Search Console. Well, don't panic, as Alex and Carolyn will explain why this is happening, and it's probably not your fault. And WordPress and Shopify have set up a pretty interesting collaboration, so look out for that as well. So some general housekeeping to kick off. This session will be recorded. Sources for the updates we mentioned can be found on the website at yoast.com/webinars. And there will be time for Q&As at the end. So make sure you submit your Q&As and questions to the side panel, and we'll have some time at the end to go through them. Now, time to hand over to the real stars of the show, our SEO principals here at Yoast. We have Carolyn Shelby. She's the SEO powerhouse, decades of experience in news, technical, and enterprise SEO. Then we have Alex Moss, master of technical and structural SEO, and all-round digital marketing whiz. You're in excellent hands. I'll be back for the Q&A at the end. So without further ado, Alex and Carolyn, welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Very excited to be here. It feels like we were just here. I think that's because it's only been like 3 weeks since the last SEO update. So hopefully we will be able to get through the slides with blazing speed and have tons of time at the end for Q&A, which is, I know, not the way it usually goes. Alex, you're muted.
I would say that's probably for the best that I'm muted. I forgot to unmute myself. But yes, I forgot that it is only like 3 weeks ago. That's why it seems like it's so close. But yeah, we always do say I have faith that we're actually going to have more time for Q&As, but we always say that, don't we? So let's see. Let's see what time we get through today.
All right. Well, so you already see that we're happy to answer your questions. If you want to know more about today's topic, as always, you can go to https://yoa.st/update-october-2025. The recording will be available later. We have an SEO survey that we would love for you to fill out. I don't know if you can grab the little QR code right now, but if you want to go directly to the URL, it is yoa.st/53a, all lowercase. So if you could fill that out for us, we would be super happy and very appreciative. We also have these aren't new this time. They were new last time, but just in case you've forgotten, we've got little icons at the tops of these slides now. So if you see the little stopwatch, that means that the advice is of immediate interest and impact. And if you see chess pieces, it's more of a long-term strategy, but that will help you, I guess, make some decisions about how you're going to integrate the information into your brain and your neural filing system. Are you ready to get started, Alex?
I'm ready, yeah. But let's see what happened on the previous episode of the SEO update by Yoast.
Tell me.
So a few days before, the one that 3 weeks ago, we told you about how num equals 100, which is a UTM parameter, this little thing that adds at the end, where in short, you could see 100 positions, 100 rankings all in one page. Now, what happened there is that a lot of third parties were using that to their advantage and using it to, scrape different data as much as they could. And whilst they did that, Google was giving it to them. There was nothing official. And that included a lot of rank trackers out there. It also included a lot of LLMs out there, some of which, like ChatGPT, were crawling a lot of different positions. Google just took that away. And now that's kind of skewed some data, including Google Search Console and other third-party tools, some of which have actually stayed okay. But weirdly, Google Search Console seems to have shown you the biggest skewed data, and everyone else has kind of stayed steady, which is nice to know. But if you do see anything like less impressions in Google Search Console, and it happened around mid to late September, this will be the reason why.
I think the important thing, or the most visible thing that people might be noticing in Search Console is, you may remember that everyone was talking about the crocodile and how the impressions were going up, but your clicks were going down, and it was making a little crocodile face on your Search Console. What's happening is that because the impressions are better now, it's less skewed, and the crocodiles kind of matched up again, and your little crocodile face is gone. So if you see that, that doesn't mean that everything is magically better and your click-throughs have gone up. That just means that the impressions have gone down, but they're more accurate and they reflect reality a little bit better. So you will be seeing that. And the reason we're bringing that up and refreshing your memory on that is because there's a concern that Google Ads reporting has also been impacted by the Num 100 removal change, because it was causing inflated data in Search Console. PPC experts said they don't expect similar impact in Google Ads. Vanessa Fox, who used to work at Google a long time ago, raised concerns that ads keyword volumes might have also been inflated, but the community is saying they weren't, and that one problem isn't related to the other. The most likely reason for this is that Google Ads has been filtering out scraper-related activity more effectively than Search Console. You might ask, well, why would they be better at it for Google Ads than they would for Search Console? Likely because there's money involved. Because with Google Ads, you're paying for impressions and you're paying for clicks, and there's like money changing hands. Google has much more of an incentive. I don't know why the screen's doing that, just for the record. Google has much more of an incentive to make sure that everything is completely accurate. So the Num 100 change, it's affecting SEO reporting. It's not affecting your paid search. Your organic data is going to look different. Your ads data is going to probably look the same as it did before. Don't panic. This is the organic adjusting to better reflect reality. The ads, because there was a money situation, was probably always fine. So if you're running paid ads and you have some concerns about that, that's what's going on there. But we wanted to make sure that everybody understood what was going on and there was no panic. Let's talk about Sora 2. I know this isn't directly SEO related. Well, I mean, it kind of is, because I'm seeing a lot of it in my feed. Alex, have you had a chance to play with this?
Only a little, and it's good. Simple prompts. You only need a couple, and it does what it needs to do. But what I am seeing more of on social is it called AI slop? Produced videos of politically incorrect stuff, like to try and make you laugh. Like, I don't know, it's web spam in my opinion. But there's that part. Whilst I don't think it's going to create an award-winning movie right now, what it can do is maybe give you sort of site owners and optimizers out there something to add in video that best represents a blog post that you're writing or a landing page that you're on, where you could actually do a simple look at this waterfall in a forest, in the middle of a forest. Wouldn't that look cool? But it doesn't actually mean that you're trying to, take over the wording itself with the video. Don't make the video the primary, but it's a good complementary thing to do with your online marketing. And like we were discussing before, if something's real or not, does that make you want to click in? Which I guess is a good question.
I saw someone complain that, and I believe this was on LinkedIn, that if he sees an AI generated hero image attached to your blog post, he is 100% unlikely to click through and read your blog post, because he will assume that everything that you wrote is also garbage, and that he would much rather see stock imagery as the featured image or stock photos. I think the opposite opinion. I would much rather know that you spent some time and you made an effort to make an image to go along with your blog post than grabbed stock photography. Stock photography can show up on it can be anywhere. Anyone can use it. You're not paying for exclusive rights to that photo. It's not unique and it's flat. Like there's usually it's not custom or bespoke to that article. So it seems really low effort. And in my mind, it's more low effort than AI. And if you're that lazy, then I have to assume that your writing is also lazy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a good point. If you do, I'm thinking of news items, and it's not in the SEO update, but there was the big AWS outage that happened in the last 24 hours.
yeah,
And all I've seen is just pictures of the AWS logo and like a graph going down. Or, if someone hacks something in the news, there's always some unidentified hooded person lurching by a keyboard. And those are the stock photos. But maybe a simple Sora 2, video that describes that thing happening maybe adds a bit to the animation and again adds personality. At least some thought's been put into it.
like if I was going to make something to illustrate the AWS going down, I would do like a remake of that scene in Star Wars when Anakin becomes Vader. And is it Anakin? Yeah, I'm not a Star Wars person, more of a Star Trek person, but that's another conversation. When it was he killed all the younglings, and they said there was a disturbance in the force as though millions of voices were snuffed out all at once. It's kind of what happens when AWS goes down, right? There's a disturbance in the force because all of these sites went down. I would probably try to find a way to get AI to remix that section of the movie into something more AWS related, and I would think that was pretty clever.
Exactly. It's a
Maybe
good hook
sometimes
with a story.
my own creativity, but I would do something like that. That would be far more interesting to me than just a picture of the logo and an arrow going down.
Yeah.
But I think the other interesting thing is TNG is the best Star Trek, Jason. I agree. The the fascinating thing to me about these videos is how good they are and how much better they've gotten just in the last 12 months. So if they've gotten this good just in the last 12 months, what do you think next year is going to be like? It's wild. Um, I'm not going to lie. There were videos of animals in the middle of the night coming and jumping on trampolines. I swear to God, for the first week, I thought those were real. I was like, that's really cool. Look at the bears having fun on the trampoline. And this one's like, no, those are AI generated. And I was very sad. So
Oh well, now we don't know what's real and what's not, but
we don't.
that's
Um,
that's the ethical stuff of AI. That's not this month. That's maybe another webinar. Maybe we'll put that in
yeah,
the poll ringer.
the takeaway is you're going to see just a tsunami of this AI generated video coming into your feeds, and you're going to be finding it everywhere. And if you're asking yourself if you should be integrating it, if you should be taking advantage of it, I don't think it's going to hurt to try. And you should be prepared for this influx. If your previous strategy had revolved around maybe producing real videos, you might have to find a way to produce your real videos faster and differentiate them from the AI generated videos. Do things that can prove that it was real, I guess,
Yeah.
is the best way to phrase that.
But you can do video production for cheaper. But anyway, away from video, let's talk about e-commerce a little bit more, because Woo have announced that they are working with Stripe to have a more agentic commerce experience. What does that matter to you? If you've got Woo, this eventually should in core, because we've got no more detail about when this is going to happen, when it's going to be released, is that one can assume that because we already know that OpenAI have brought in seamless e-com, is that there'll be a way of looking for a product within a chat dialogue. You find out that that's something you want to purchase, and without leaving the ChatGPT, even that session, you can purchase something using your card that's already connected, that kind of stuff. So this is a nice way of saying that all WooCommerce sites are going to have this. It's already going to be something that's enabled. You don't need to do anything. quite yet. And even if you did need to do something, Yoast will have probably accommodated for some of that work when it happens. So don't worry, everyone, we're on it. But from a site owner's point of view, you may not get all the visitors you want. But think of the internet or your audiences splitting into agents or robots and humans, and both of them will want a different experience, and both the human will use a robot to potentially convert, and whilst they're not converting on the human side, they're still converting. So it's best to have both areas covered.
I agree. I'm looking forward to this, and I think it's going to be helpful that there's a means of making things AI native discoverable, and it won't involve the site owners scrambling to retrofit their sites and undo a lot of like the tabs and the things that we've been working into our sites because we thought that was a better user experience that we now have to unroll to make sure that the agents can see all of the text that they need to see. So this is kind of making all of those changes easier for the site owner. So I'm looking forward to it. And whether or not I trust the computer to make purchases for me, I might be a bit of a troglodyte in that aspect. I like to put my own credit card into the machines. I like to have that visual experience where I know that
We say that, but what about wallets? What about wallets on your phone and contactless? 15 years ago, that may have been like the technology could exist if it really needed to be, but people were still wary. Now we're all accepting of it. Now, is it going to be weird in 15 years that like anyone even has a physical credit card?
That's
So
true.
it's just one way to look at it. Okay, well, from ecom to local. So Bing, they've updated their business manager, their location manager for local businesses, and you can do lots of cool, neat stuff. The UI has been updated, so go and check it out. What would this be the takeaway for you guys to know? I'd say, well, local is very important. There's still very local based searches, even in ChatGPT and all the other platforms out there. But also, it's interesting to see that Bing, as a search engine, are looking at these things when they're also working on a lot of AI focused products and solutions, right? So I don't think that if this wouldn't be released in such a big way and be such a big update with more options and more things to populate if there wasn't something else down the line that it may help with and contribute towards.
Something that you can't talk about right now?
No, of course not. I'm keeping poker faces, but I mean, I would just say check it out, maybe have a look and maybe make sure that everything's populated because, soon it might be needed more so than other platforms that offer local business citations like this. Not citations.
I would say that a good reminder here also is that not everything is about Google. And even though Google does dominate the market still, there are other search engines that are developing other agreements with the LLMs and the AIs. So there are other markets aside from just Google. Don't focus on Google to the exclusion of everyone else. There might be other opportunities. You're never going to get all of the market share from Google anyway. So you have to take the customers where you can find them. And it might be that some of your customers are largely spending more time on Bing than they are on Google. So it could be an untapped opportunity for you as a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to what AI mode user behavior studies reveal about the future of search. So Kevin Indig did a study where he looked at how users are interacting with AI mode. And this was such an in-depth study. It required 2 slides to complete. So this is another long-term strategy type of deals to just sort of, absorb the information. We know that AI mode is sticky. 75% of those sessions never left AI mode. 88% of those first interactions were with the AI text. People are dwelling, they're sitting there and they're reading it for more than a minute. I mean, 50 to 80 seconds. That's a lot more time than they normally spend scanning something and then clicking. When the clicks do happen, they're considered rare and transactional. So people aren't clicking on something unless they're looking to do something else. It's not, I'm going to gather more information. They've got the information from the AI mode, and they're clicking when they're ready to make a purchase. The site type is matching the intent. So the comparison surface, like review sites, broad shopping goes to marketplaces, decisive buying lands on a PDP, is a product description page. So when people are making a decisive decision, it's taking them directly to that product page where they can complete that task and get all the information they want about it. Local tasks are on Google Assets. So if it's something that you're trying to do in your local environment, it's probably going to stay entirely within Google. It'll stay within the maps or something like that. There are many product description pages inside of AI mode. So product previews are getting pulled into AI mode, and those are appearing in about a quarter of the sessions. They get a lot less attention than that dwell time in AI mode overall, but 45% of the users stop after previewing. So they're previewing that information, and then they're not moving on from that. What this is all telling us is that people are spending a lot of time in this AI mode. They are not going to these websites as often as they were before. So that initial decrease in click-throughs that we were all panicking about because AI is going to steal our clicks, AI is 100% stealing our clicks. So I think the click-through rates are going to continue to go down, and we don't own Google, so there's nothing we can do to stop that trend. I would treat AI mode as a destination and not a doorway through to your website, which is kind of what we treated like the search results before. People would find them and they would move through them to your website. That's why we wanted to rank highly. Now they're getting to AI mode, and that's where they're going, and they're not moving on from there unless they have a very strong reason to do so. You want to make sure you're engineering that content for citation and extraction. And we've got lots of information. Oh, this would be a good place to drop that link to the article, Alex.
Yes, I will do that now. I'll put Kevin's in the chat, but I'll put yours within Yoast.com here now.
Cool. So you want to make sure that you're structuring your page correctly and that you've got the right type of intent, and you're optimizing everything with the understanding that people aren't going to come through and land on that page. You're making all of these data points available for Google to use in AI mode. If you can start tracking those AI citations and the coverage along with your regular SEO metrics, I think you're going to find that to be useful information as well. And I think we have something that can help with that we're going to talk about at the very end. So remind me to circle back to that.
25 minutes, I'd say. We'll mention stuff, won't we? Hopefully. Okay.
Cool. So can you tell me about the Microsoft stuff?
Yeah. Well, Microsoft did a little presentation on how to do things. I mean, I don't need to get too deep into it. It's the same messaging that Google have been giving you and Microsoft for years now. Just make sure that things are concise, things are unique, they're value added. Same stuff.
I did walk away from that with, I've been saying this for years. Why is this suddenly new?
It's not even, I don't know. I feel like at the moment when it's come to this is a new thing, AI based LLM, SEO, whatever you want to call it, geo and everything. That's partly causing confusion that makes the search engines themselves have to go back and go, remember, everything we're about to tell you is everything we've already been telling you for a generation. The foundations are exactly the same. And maybe as soon as you think of geo and LLM SEO or whatever the acronym is, then you automatically think, well, what special, unique kind of work do I need to do for that? And the answer is the same stuff. Make sure things are concise, structured, make sure your schema's populated. All of those things that you were doing prior to ChatGPT coming out is stuff that you should be doing now. And also maybe warnings about not filler text or, keyword stuffing, and you're just making words for the sake of words. Think of tokens and how things are synthesized and brought back into a platform. If they have to read now 1,000 words, but you only really needed 600, make that landing page 600 words, or as close to it as possible, because the other 400 words is just a waste of time for a machine, and therefore as well as a human as well. So we should be, again, catering for both. But in short, the takeaway was something we would have told you months and months and years previously. So nothing new.
Absolutely. All right. So this was, if you're a developer or if you're a very technical person, you might find this keynote by Sam Altman interesting, but it was at their Dev Day. So this really is targeted to a very technical audience. There were some interesting takeaways, and we summarized it so that you don't have to go watch it, because my eyes glazed over a little bit at some points, and I don't want to subject anyone else to that. So the things that I think would be really interesting to the general public, knowing that the AIs are making plans to and making tools for converging all of the ecosystems end to end, so that there's AI everywhere, from where you sit down at the computer to everything you're doing on the other end. They want the AI to be able to do that for you, or at least go along with you and help you make decisions. So there's faster development cycles. They're using AI to program things. Products are going to come out faster. Testing cycles are going to be shortened. There's going to be more, when they say multimodal content in search, that means there's going to be not just text. There will be videos, there will be audio, there will be pictures. Multimodal just means lots of different types of data. The shift towards AI native apps that integrate directly into user conversations means that they're going to be trying to put the AI into, like, we've got it in our emails. They're going to be putting it into our chats, into Slack, into everything. It will be like, what is that food additive that's literally in everything?
Not oil. Something oil. Palm oil. Is it palm oil?
Something like that. It's going to be like one of those food additives that no matter how hard you try to not engage with it or consume it, it's there and you just can't help it. So I think that was really the important takeaway. I do invite people to check it out on YouTube if you're interested, but if you're not interested, there's the summary for you.
Yeah, and I've also put a link to the full 52-minute
Oh, great. Thank you.
if you are interested to watch it. So the next one is, Shopify have done something quite interesting a couple of weeks ago. Was it 10 days ago? Yeah, 11 days ago. They have created a WordPress plugin, so that if you have a WordPress installation, you can sell your products using Shopify's platform. So it's kind of like using both at the same time. It's too early, in my opinion, to tell exactly what the implications are from an SEO perspective, because it hasn't been tested that much. We didn't even know about it until after it was announced, and we've still got some testing to do. But a couple of things to note. Firstly, the very first thing is do not just change and use this immediately. That's not to say don't explore the idea. If you're using a WooCommerce installation and you just don't like it and you've been hoping and praying all this time to get onto Shopify somehow, but you don't want to leave your WordPress installation, this is the potential solution to do that that's official from Shopify and it's first party made. The other thing to think about is also, if you are a Shopify owner and all of this time you've been limited by some of the things that Shopify as a CMS do outside of the e-commerce feature set that it does, and you want to do things like extend it a bit more, be more creative with your templates and so on. This is an opportunity to still operate within Shopify and use all the inventory and everything that it does that's magic in there that you like about Shopify, but on the front end to the customer facing side and agent facing side, you can still use a WordPress site. But we will be digging in deeper in the next month, and in the next SEO update, I would like to think that maybe they've created an update, because this is literally version 1.0.0, and we'll have a few more answers to, if you did want to do it, then here are a few things to consider. But lastly, don't do anything before Black Friday, please, and thank you.
I was just going to say that if you saw this and you said, "Oh, I want to try this out," I'm begging you, please don't try it until after the shopping season. 1 month out from the biggest shopping event of the year is not the time to change platforms. You should be in code freeze right now. You should not be making this is like cutting your hair 2 weeks before your wedding. Just it is not a good idea. It could go fine, but it could go spectacularly badly. We don't know yet. So we will do some investigation and we will get back to you in the following months with better information and updates. It's an exciting prospect though, especially if you like the bloggy aspects of WordPress, but you like the shopping aspects of Shopify. Being able to merge those two in a more seamless fashion, I think is going to be a game changer for a lot of people, but we don't want you trying that this close to Black Friday.
Well, we did warn that in our coffee chat, didn't we, in our part one? Naringa, if you're about, can you please dig up our part one and put it in the chat here so people can watch it? And at the end, we'll be advertising part two, which is on the 4th of November. But anyway, more news. This one, can we chat about this, please?
Yeah, we can chat. So this was a LinkedIn article where I forget exactly who said it. Google's testing AI-generated descriptions for some of the results. And the way the article was phrased was that this means that Google is going to stop using your meta descriptions and it's going to be pointless to write them. Oh no, whatever shall we do? So I disagree with that. Google tested AI-generated descriptions on Reddit threads, which do not have meta descriptions by design. So there's no meta description. How are they going to provide a meta description if not to generate it? I don't think that they're going to do this across the board for every single page on the planet because it takes tokens and processing power to do it, and they don't want to spend that. They want to do this economically, and economically, it's only required for things like Reddit threads that don't have descriptions. I don't think you should stop doing your meta descriptions. That being said, if you don't have your fallback or default meta description configured in your Yoast plugin, you should go do that. So in the first time configurator and also in the settings, there is a place where you can set up variables as your defaults for things like your meta description. So you don't have to set it on the page every time you make a blog post. It will default to taking the first 150 or so characters from your content and make that the meta description. So it's like %, excerpt, %. You drop that into the description, that will magically fill in your meta description. Now, if you write in an inverted pyramid style, which is what journalists do, or they're supposed to do, it's the way we were taught 100,000 years ago when I was in journalism school. All of your important information is at the top. So the first couple sentences basically are the most important things about your article. If you write in that style, it will naturally pick up a great meta description that you didn't even have to write. It'll default to it automatically, and you don't have to worry about being in a position where Google is writing a meta description for you because yours will be good.
Yeah, and it's also worth noting because, while you were chatting, Simon Lewis beat me to it, and so did Meg a bit, is the first thing is that meta descriptions were never a ranking factor. Just know that this is the elevator pitch for a human to increase CTR. We also know that CTR has been going down in value over the time with the influx of AI mode and all the LLMs out there. However, like Carolyn said, don't just neglect them, still make them, because these agents and other methods and search engines and everyone are still going to at least reference that thing. And if you're honest and true to the content that's inside, then it will still potentially either use it or use parts of it in order to generate it.
I agree. Walmart's doing something fun. They're creating an AI first shopping experience. How do you even feel about this, Alex? Because I'm not sure I'm not sure I want AI to be
excited.
my first shopping experience because I rather enjoy shopping, but
I don't know. I mean, the weekly shop's good, but then again, I don't know what it's like in America. In England, there is quite a lot of grocery online shopping, and we've got Tesco and Asda. Asda's Walmart owns Asda as well. So I would also
oh, I didn't know
see in
that.
the past that it was a good few years ago now, but it was within the last 10, 15. But I also see, well, if they're doing it with Walmart, maybe I'm going to experience this soon with Asda, right? But if we know that let's just use ChatGPT because it's OpenAI here. They have my card details. They're starting to know what things I like and don't like based on history and conversation. It'll be able to access previous shopping through either my email or my Walmart account. It will be able to make suggestions, and it will be able to form some part of a weekly shop with me and have a quick chat about the weekly shop, or I want to make spaghetti bolognese, and it just finds things for me, and maybe even the brands that I like. It knows I like Don Mio more than any other brand. Maybe it only goes for that. I actually like this idea, and again, you don't have to leave the chat dialogue. I don't think Walmart's going to care, because here I think this is a great opportunity, because as soon as I said make me ingredients for spaghetti bolognese, Walmart's like, yes, I'm going to make sure that everything is in there, add celery, carrots, and all the things that you may not have done beforehand. And then it's up to you to opt out of that item. I think it's going to be really, really good, but also really convenient for us, because you can connect when it connects to things like, I don't know, Trello or other random note items, the grocery apps, all of those things. This is going to be huge.
Samsung has refrigerators that have cameras inside of it that
Yeah.
can see what's in your refrigerator. Could you imagine getting your refrigerator talking to some AI app that talks to the shopping and automatically knows what you're low on and what you need and what you don't have? Oh my gosh.
Crazy. Although I don't like the concept of a smart fridge. I saw a random short on YouTube about someone talking about it, and they brought up two very valid things, right? So first of all, ads. Am I going to have to watch an ad before I select something? And then he went, well, hold on. What if it's tiered pricing and you end up in a position where you're not allowed to open the fridge until you've watched this ad? And then
No.
I don't know. Anything's possible here.
No.
Maybe it's a way of, well, maybe you can buy a fridge. Maybe the fridge is free, right? And in exchange for having a free fridge, you have to look. Walmart, if you're listening to this and you take that idea, this has been recorded live. Thank you very much. That was a good idea, but not a good idea for them. Not a good idea for us. But it shows the possibility of the connections. Or you're on a diet. You're not supposed to have that chocolate bar, and therefore, and I don't trust you either. Because as soon as you open the door, I know you're going to go for the chocolate bar.
Well,
Maybe
it'll know if you took the
dispenser.
chocolate bar because there's a camera and it will know if it's gone. Or what if it decides you've got too many calories in your refrigerator right now, and then it starts showing you ads for the fat jab or something?
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
again,
clearly you need a GLP-1.
yeah, but maybe if you think about medical stuff, maybe it's valid. Maybe actually you're, I don't know, a diabetic, I don't know which one it is, that's not allowed to eat any chocolate, and that maybe that person doesn't want to listen to health advice and is stopped from eating that chocolate bar. For all we know, someone will argue that it saves lives. But either way, this is how everything's getting connected together. This is just stage one of this seamless experience into our actual lives, and it making some decisions for us. Hopefully it won't.
Skynet's not going to annihilate us with nuclear war. It's going to starve us to death by not opening our refrigerator.
Exactly. And so, more immersion into our lives.
More. So direct messaging is going to soon let you talk to humans in ChatGPT. I'm not even sure how this is going to work. It's part of everything now. The takeaway from this article is that OpenAI is trying to evolve ChatGPT into being an everything app where it blends this AI assistance and guidance into everything, including into your human to human communications, which is, supposedly a move that could reshape how people collaborate and socialize through AI platforms. I mean, to be fair, I do already use this when I write emails, professional business emails to people, because sometimes my initial response is probably not the most corporately approved response. and it's helpful for me to maintain professional dialogue in my communications. But I feel like you would be losing a lot of your personality if everything that you wrote and you communicated to people went through that AI filter. Like your personality would disappear, wouldn't it?
It depends. It depends on the scenario, I guess. I keep on thinking of customer relations of, a very disgruntled customer where actually, it doesn't stress out the customer service advisor, and this automated way or
Yeah.
integrated way can cool the fire down at least, and settle the customer. But there needs to be a few use cases for this.
All right. Well, that's depressing me, so let's just move on from that. Um, ChatGPT's mobile app is slowing down in growth and daily usage. I think this was kind of to be expected. I think the fun and the novelty is wearing off, so the honeymoon period's over, and people are starting to settle into how am I using this to actually be useful rather than, let's just play games and make stupid videos with it all day. You were telling me earlier that you read that 95% of young people are using Gemini and they prefer Gemini over ChatGPT.
Yeah, I have been, because I've been watching and reading so much in the last few weeks, especially on catch up, because I was away for 10 days and you just watch everything in one day. I don't know where it was said and I forgot to write the note down, but I saw somewhere that there was a statistic that only 5% of people using ChatGPT are on a paid plan. And that's interesting because I actually thought it would have been more. And it also shows that maybe, I don't know when that number was from. Is it today? Was it 20% 6 months ago? And now people have been trying it out, going onto other platforms, testing Perplexity or Claude out, and now they've stuck there because they prefer that. That's going to be quite interesting. But that was one tidbit I saw. The other thing is that the young people, someone was speaking to a young person or to a group of young people, and they said that no one they know uses ChatGPT, as though ChatGPT is the Facebook, how older people use Facebook and everyone else is on TikTok. And their
Oh, wow.
TikTok is Gemini. They use Gemini a lot because they find it better, and they use Notebook LM because it's a great tool that ChatGPT do not have
I
and
feel
have
like
not
that
got
makes me a
close to.
boomer. I don't want
Well,
to be.
yeah, I think we're older than that now, aren't we? I don't even know. But it's very interesting to see how we were talking about this over the months of like the dust isn't settling yet. We don't know if ChatGPT in 3 years is going to be the dominant, let alone exist. We don't know. Look at MySpace. That's a great comparable to everyone thought at the time that MySpace was the only thing that was going to be around. And then all of a sudden, boom, Facebook just appeared from nowhere and took it down because of its great feature sets and seamless user experience.
Yeah, that's true. And I've spoken to a lot of I think they're Gen Zs who won't use AI at all because they feel like it's inauthentic and it's just cheating at everything because you can't use the stupid machines who are just guessing at the next words to do your work for you. So they just don't do the work. So I think we're going to experience a lot of growing pains, I think, as this continues to evolve. Let's
Yeah.
keep rolling, though, because I do want to make sure we have time for questions.
Yes.
We talked about this a couple slides ago. ChatGPT has an app for Slack now. I I do think this in particular will be interesting because what it lets you do is it helps you. It can read through all your previous Slacks and help you find things and summarize really, really long chains. Like if you go to catch up on a thread and there's 100 new messages, it can summarize. It'll tell you basically what you need to know without having to go through all 100 of those messages. It can also semantically search. So instead of saying, I was talking to someone in the marketing department about this color blue that I didn't like. Can you go find that for me? You don't have to know exactly the shade of blue that you were looking for. You don't have to know exactly who you were talking to. It knows that it needs to find a conversation between you and a person who is also in the marketing team discussing a negative sentiment about a shade of blue. And it's smart enough to know that there's lots of different names for blue and there's lots of people in the marketing department, so it can find those things for you. I think it'll make things a little bit quicker. You won't have to do as much searching, you won't have to do as much reading. It'll just help you with your Slack.
good, because I haven't been a fan of the AI capabilities inside Slack. You know, I want, you can only do one thing at a time, but I don't know. We're being told by Lewis that there may be too many questions for time. So I challenge accepted, because we've kind of finished the news items here, but also in the news, I'll shoot through these. AI modes expanding, big surprise. Google is testing an analytics advisor inside GA4, which is okay. You just chat to it and may give some advice, but I'd probably advise maybe to use an MCP if you're technical enough and chat directly inside the likes of Claude or Perplexity. The next thing is someone spotted in the wild that in AI overviews, they are doing a lot more enriched content answer version of a summary of a recipe. And they're showing a lot more rich data on the outputs. But again, we'll put that in the mailing list and on the page. And lastly, Sam Altman announces that he's sorting out adult and erotica content within ChatGPT. Had huge backlash. Crazy. I don't know why he's doing it personally.
This is icky. I do not like.
I'm sure that a lot of people have been asking for it. It's probably data driven inside the usage in there.
What kind of people are asking for that? I mean, I know what kind of people are asking for that.
Too many people, but just because the data says that a lot of people are doing it doesn't necessarily mean you need to pivot towards what the data says if you're trying to do something great in the world. Now he's trying to cure cancer and sort the environment out, and now we're like, now you can have erotica. You know, what are we doing?
About our new product that's out.
Yes, say.
We've got, so Yoast SEO AI Plus is a bundle, and it includes our AI brand insights, which is what you see on the right there in the screenshots. So that's available. Very exciting. If you get the bundle, the AI Plus bundle, you'll get the brand insights plus premium plus, I think, is it also WooCommerce?
I believe so, but I've put all the details are in the link I've just put on there.
Okay,
but yes, it's all very exciting. Do test it out. It's great stuff.
And then also we added pronoun schemas. That's in the standard, and we want to make sure that we're keeping our schema up to date and current. So you've got that available to you now as well. But very excited. Please do read about our AI brand insights if you're interested in tracking those mentions. And then also join us on November 4th for the second installment of Brewing Up Sales, which is where Alex and I will have a coffee chat or tea chat about last minute optimizations for Black Friday. And then, of course, we've got the Thanksgiving edition of the SEO update by Yoast on Tuesday, November 24th, which is hopefully before you leave for the holidays.
Well, hey.
The American holidays. And that was it. So are we ready for Q&A?
Yes. Let's get through Chris, you've got a challenge.
Yes, I do. 12 minutes. Thanks for the updates, team. Great.
To be fair, 12 minutes is more than we usually give you. So
It is. We should get through all of these. So let's kick this one. So using AI generated images in posts, is an understanding that sites using them won't be crawled or pages won't be crawled. Is that true? Is that still the case?
I don't think they were avoiding posts that had AI images.
No, I didn't. I don't remember hearing that. However, that being said, I maybe treat the image like how we were describing Sora before. Like, don't make it the thing, but make it something complementary, and don't just make it better than a stock image, and not maybe as good as a human produced one. But also think about if it's going to change, what that might do to that image. Are you going to have to go back? Think about it.
So here's what I think the problem might have been if you were using AI generated images as your hero image. Hero images appear at the top of the page. They're going to encounter the alt text and the file name before they encounter the headline and the body copy. So if you're not updating if it has a gibberish file name, or a file name that has words in it that are related to the prompt that you used and not necessarily related to the headline or the content of the article, it's going to confuse the bots and dilute your relevancy. And that's true of any image that you use. It just happens that it's automatically being set by the AI generation when you save the image. So I don't think it was ever a problem with being AI generated. I think it was a problem with the surrounding context that you were providing, that the bots were reading, and they were reading it and it was confusing them on what the topic of the article or the relevancy of the content to what the question that they're trying to answer was, if that makes sense.
That's it. Yeah. Perfect. Let's have a look. So where are we? So if I'm looking for human engagement with my website, how concerned should you be about the ethical stuff? I guess this is up to you, isn't it?
Yeah. Depends what you mean by ethical stuff. Are you thinking of the ethics of disconnecting the human experience with the agentic experience? I think that weirdly, in some of the items we've been covering before, like direct messaging within ChatGPT by humans might solve some of those things where if they're not actually navigating onto a website the way we have been in the past, that this agentic area might have, there will be some connection. And again, we were talking weirdly, Carolyn, about how authenticity is going to become more valuable and more important to people as time goes on, as more and more stuff gets synthetic and production. Like, I think it was when we were talking about Sora 2 during the run through, we were talking about maybe if I see Niagara Falls in a video, maybe up till now, I'll just assume very rightly that that's a real video taken by a human or controlled by a human. But now if I saw a video of a waterfall and they said it's Niagara Falls, if I'd never seen it before, technically I couldn't confirm whether that was true or not. And was it edited? Was it completely fake? I think those ethical things of don't make fake stuff trying to hide something that should be real in the first place. Maybe that's a good way to answer it. If you want to be real and you want to connect human to human, then maybe keep it that way and keep it human to human whilst secondarily looking at an agentic audience.
I'm just trying to figure out what could you possibly do that's unethical that would increase human engagement.
I don't know. People like
because I feel like if you're being deceptive, that would decrease engagement because people wouldn't like that because it ventures into that uncanny valley where people feel uncomfortable. So don't be unethical is my general rule of thumb.
Unless, Mario, we got it all wrong. And if so, please find us on LinkedIn and DM us and we're happy to chat further.
Simple as that. What topic that's been covered kind of weaved in throughout the webinar, but I feel it's a huge topic that a lot of people are interested in, so no harm covering it again. But what key steps need to be taken for a freelancer to get cited in ChatGPT, for them to get small businesses cited in ChatGPT or Copilot?
I would probably do some reach out press release style and try to get an article where the business is mentioned and quoted, picked up in a publication that is relied upon as a feeder for the AIs. So if I want to get mentioned, I would have an article that quotes me published in one of the search industry journals. If I wanted my business mentioned, I would try to get an article picked up by our local newspaper that's connected to the AP. The AP would then disseminate it out to the other AP websites. And those tend to be bigger newspapers, and those get picked up and cited by the LLMs pretty frequently. So it might be more off-site, old school marketing than it is things that tactical things that you can do on your website to increase those chances.
Yeah, and just to add, if it's bricks and mortar, again, go back to our news item, look at Bing Business, local business stuff that's just been revamped, go into the Google business listings as well and create one if you haven't already, or populate it, trying to track more third-party reviews from your customers, because that's all going to get fed in, and even more so in the future, as again, we look at authenticity from third parties more and more valuably.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, PR is certainly having a bit of a renaissance at the moment. Interesting, simple one. Probably needs a bit of context, but I'm sure it can be discussed. Is it worth keeping paying AdWords for a small business?
Yes.
Answer this in yes or no. There we go.
Yeah, if you are, I mean, I would have gone with the classic, it depends. But if you are already and it's working, keep on doing it. It's also worthy to note that, again, these search engines' business models are based over AdWords, advertising, right? What Google have zero interest in is getting rid of AdWords or making it any less valuable. So if it doesn't have as much value maybe today as it did in the last 12 months, it will have more value in the next 12 months. They're just figuring out a way, and they kind of, and we didn't share the story where someone supposedly from Google shared that AdWords were coming to AI mode, and then Google said, no, we never said anything like that. But even if they didn't, it's probably going to happen.
They didn't say no. They said, we never said that, which is
oh yeah, they choose
entirely different answers. So yeah, they have to make money, and they have a financial incentive to make sure that the people that give them money are happy.
Yeah,
so
and continue to be.
If you're already paying for AdWords, I would continue what you're doing at the very least, unless you're making zero money and it costs you a ton. Like if you're actively losing money on it, then maybe stop losing money, but I wouldn't abandon it altogether because I still think it's useful.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So when we were back speaking about copywriting and a bit of Star Wars came in, someone's asked, Scott's asked, isn't stock imagery used to avoid copyright violations? So would using something like Star Wars be a
they do.
Be a violation?
So using Star Wars is probably a copyright violation. And stock imagery is used to avoid copyright violations. There are different levels of copyright violations. If you are a business and you are using it to make money, then you probably do not want to violate someone's intellectual property or their trademark or their copyright. But if you're just doing it to be funny and you're not going to make any money on it, you would still be violating it, but you're unlikely to be persecuted because there was no financial gain. If you are a business, the assumption in the law is that anything you put out is an attempt to make money, and therefore it's something you can get in trouble for. So I don't like stock photography. There are fair use doctrines that could be employed. If I make a direct knockoff of Star Wars, I am probably going to get in trouble for that. You could make a conceptually knocked off video and just not use the likeness of the stars. I mean, there's ways to get around that. I still think stock imagery is devoid of personality and lazy, but that's just me.
Yeah, and also there are ways of getting free stock imagery as well. There's like Pexels and Pixabay. There's loads of places like them, but I know that they're the leading ones that do free stock imagery. And if Star Wars is the mission critical part of making that image, either expand your content so it isn't, or pay for the license. But or feel Disney's wrath, of which I hear they have the wrath. They created the W in Wrath.
But there's different, like, you can look at Spaceballs. Spaceballs is very clearly a knockoff of Star Wars, but they changed enough. They kept some of the imagery, but they changed enough of it that they wouldn't get in trouble. So just be creative. You can get your point across in a creative way without violating people's copyrights.
Perfect. Probably last question, but let's see how it probably will be.
Oh,
one more
this
minute.
lady cannot sue every company that echoed the story because that was a public event and she made herself a news story. So good luck with those lawsuits.
So back to the sort of PR offsite optimization for LLM optimization. Do LLMs rate mentions on websites or verticals of our industry the same as mentions of news sites and publishers?
That's just like a normal ranking system, I guess. It will depend on which on how your search or prompt is going to be will give it you in the most conceptual and contextual way. But no, I don't think it's going to necessarily rate things. And if it does, it's not doing that in a really sophisticated manner, like Google has been shaping that system over so many years.
It's getting that list of things that it's going to mention from Google or from Bing. Like it's getting mentions from the SERPs that it's getting from the search engines. These LLMs are not doing their own searches. They're getting searches from somewhere else, and they're using that as a list of things to scan through and choose from. But they're not, if I'm understanding the question correctly, they're not doing their own rankings and making their own judgments about things. They're just getting a list of SERPs from Google, effectively.
And then it will. I don't think it rates things. It will just decide on what's contextually relevant to the answer, like it does with a fan-out query and long-tail results, right? If what you're asking may be a news item, if you're thinking about the quality of the actual writing compared to, the New York Times and some small local newspaper, again, that's going to be harder to say. It depends on too many things. But I don't think they're literally saying, well, the New York Times is clearly bigger and more global, so therefore it should automatically have more authority. It will look at them both and in a more sophisticated way decide if both are contextually relevant to the answer.
I think that's probably fair.
That's it. Okay, one last bonus one because it's related. Does Wikipedia influence AI bots talking about getting coverage on the site?
Yes, that's your answer. Absolutely.
Nice and quick. Get on Wikipedia. Yes. Excellent. Thank you. That's your 60 minutes of SEO done. Thanks everyone so much for joining. I hope you found it a useful discussion. And we'll see you all in November.
See you all soon.
Bye-bye.